Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Lepre, King Michael. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. It is 7:06 Eastern Standard Time. I feel like the camera is really high. Like, for some reason, my camera is set up to be really high. I don't know why I'm getting the ceiling. I'll adjust that in a second, I guess. It is May 22nd, 2022, and oh my God, the math geeks must be going crazy. Must be going crazy, and I'm not going to say why until I bring out my friend. Here he is, Buddy Fair. What's up, buddy?
Good evening, Mike. How you doing?
Good, buddy. Let me go over the date really quick with you.
Yep.
Here's where I'm like, what could the math geeks do with this one, right? 05222022. I'll repeat it again. 05222022. How many twos?
2022.
2022.
Five, right? There's five.
All right, so it's 052220.
Far out, man.
It's five. You
blows my mind, man.
5 twos left, buddy. Wow. Math geeks are going nuts.
5 twos today.
Going nuts, right?
Crazy,
All right.
Mike.
So go ahead.
Oh my God. Let me just start off the show by saying it was an amazing pleasure to spend yesterday all day looking at your face, Mike, and being aboard the USS Salem, the Para Expo event. The one time that I didn't see your face, or you didn't see my face for some time, I went out to my car to get my cell phone charger for you to use, and I was walking back in and I heard this voice. Who's that? I thought it was a ghost at first. I turned around. I'm like, it couldn't be. And I turned around. It was the champ, Mike. The champ was on the ship.
Was he?
So immediately, that oh my God, the nausea, like the angst comes over me. Like, oh my God, the sight of this guy, Mike, just makes me want to be ill. Instead, I threw him like a haymaker, a heavy.
Really?
The heavy cruiser haymaker, right?
Yeah.
And then I picked him up like a bag of tea over my head, Mike, and I threw him right into the Boston Harbor.
Yeah.
And I looked down, like, and I picked up a little something here, a little bit of something here. Picked up this one, and I picked up this one. just thought I'd point that out to all the.
You stole.
There might be a new champ in town, Mike.
You stole the champ's belt?
I stole his belt, Mike.
Oh my God! Wow, buddy. See, I know the champ kind of, but kind of, because I never really met him. But what I do know about him is retribution is a bitch when it comes to the champ.
Right. He turned his back for a minute, Mike.
No, what I'm saying is
right in the Bay of Boston he went.
Yeah, but what you got to know about this guy is he's still the champ, the face that runs the place, and now you're in his crosshairs, and that's like, I would look, hey buddy, good job. I wouldn't want to be you. Right. Why don't you go ahead with the guest?
All right, before I introduce tonight's guest, before we bring him on, this is his third time on. Each other time that we've seen him on, he's been joined by somebody else, whether it be the first time he was joined by the late, great Tim Jackson. The second time, the late, great Tim Jackson let us in when we had that amazing Spirit Box show. And ironically enough, I ended up at a brewery last night, which is a big surprise to me, I know. And one of their beers was called Timmy. Being that yesterday was Tim Jackson, they had his military honors at the Rhode Island Veterans Cemetery. Our good friend Jeff Ahern did the flag presentation ceremony. He looked beautiful in his uniform. It was a lovely ceremony, and I would have loved to have been there if I wasn't beating up the champ. Going to the expo on the USS Salem. But I got this beer in tribute to Tim Jackson. So Timmy, Six Pack Brewing. It's a lovely little brewery in Bristol. And I also have this evening Vermont. It's called Vermont Beer Makers. I found it in the local Packy store by Jeff Ahern's house Friday night after the Little League game, and it's a double IPA. It's an 8.1% alcohol by volume, and the aftertaste tastes like bacon. So I'm like, I need this. I need to have some of this. So I'm going to be drinking bacon and Timmy. So tonight's guest, Mike, he's a long-time paranormal investigator. If you've ever investigated with this guy, he comes with a giant van. He opens the back door. This guy's like a U-Haul truck full of paranormal investigative tools. Everything you can imagine, and then some. Even the creepy stuff like the dolls. Speaking of the Army, he's a veteran of the Army and not the Navy. And what else? He's all that is woo-woo. Kevin Hart, welcome to the show again, Kevin.
So before I bring Kevin Hart on, you're getting too big for your britches, buddy.
Oh boy, Mike, here we go.
Not the fake. No, listen. Like, slow your roll, because the champ. My phone has been getting text messages nonstop from him. Okay. This is going to get ugly. So, joining us for the third time, our only third time alumni with his gold jacket, Kevin Hart. What's up, Kev? How are you doing? Can you hear us?
Kevin?
He can't hear us?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear... Wait. Can't hear me? But, buddy, you can.
Can you hear me? I can hear Mike.
I can hear me. I can hear Buddy. Kevin talk. Let me see if I can hear Kevin talk. Buddy, tell Kevin to talk.
Kevin, talk.
No, can't hear Kevin. All right.
Can't hear Kevin. You can hear me, though, Mike. So
let's try Kevin. Let's just...
Buddy's doing something right.
Try that, Kev. All right. He's going to have to sign off, sign in. Try signing off, signing in. By the way,
sign off and sign in.
This is quintessential legit paranormal.
Oh, shit.
Sign
off. And then
wait, let me get my sign language, buddy, please. Oh. Sign off.
Sign off and then sign on.
Wait, and then sign on. That's sign language. Why don't you let me do my sign language?
Actually, that's I gotta pee and that means I gotta poop. But I don't know sign in and sign off and sign language, Mike. I'm sorry, I'll have to learn that one. But this means I gotta poop.
Let's try this. Kevin Hart. There he is.
Yeah, all right. Here we go.
Beautiful.
What's up, buddy?
All right. First, I want to thank you for being a 3-time guest, sending me this awesome trophy.
Look at that. Unbelievable.
And one of Mike's gold chains and a sweet blazer. Right. I love it.
Yeah. Hey. There might be still some of my chest hairs stuck in that chain.
That's what it was. All right. I thought it was spider legs or something. But...
No, that's just chest hair. So, all right, Kevin, third time on the show, which is like phenomenal because, like, who would have thought the show would be around long enough for you to be on 3 times? You know what I mean?
I mean, just scraping the barrel is.
No, I mean, like, we lost the genius Kev, right? We lost the genius Kev.
Yeah.
We transitioned to Joey Paranormal, and that kid can never be found, right, buddy?
He's engaged. He's a busy man. So I mean, yeah, he's whipped. I think they would call it at this point.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that.
He's structured by his wife or his fiancée to do certain things. So
yeah,
of course we understand that we have to take second base to Kara, and that's fine. You know,
I would say that, but I wouldn't say that.
All right,
but I would say that. But I wouldn't say that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just gonna.
If you knew Kara, Mike, you might say that.
Kevin, so here's what I want to start off the bat with you. So I'm what's called a Facebook and / social media like connoisseur. I read stuff that everybody posts.
Like my stuff?
Yes. So I guess my biggest knock on me is that I never hit the like button. I don't know why. It's like I've gotten into arguments with like close people, and they're like, "Why don't you ever like stuff that I put up?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just read it, and then I forget to hit the like button, and I just move. It's like I don't know. I assume that he knows that I like it because I read it in my dumb head. That's what I'm thinking. But anyways, so I do a wrestling show, right? And we have a fantasy football thing here, and there is a character called the Champ. He stirs stuff up. He's gonna ruin Buddy. Absolutely ruin him.
Tossing the Boston
Gonna
Army.
absolutely ruin him. So what I'm saying is, there's a shit. What's called a shit stirrer. Now, I mean that on a positive level. See, that's what I want to make sure we get across. Like when someone else might say that to you, that might be an insult. When it comes from me, I'm saying I appreciate sometimes how you just throw out like a 2-line post that just like, wow, man, it's just like, and I just wait to see what happens.
Well, sometimes
So
it's a few
tell me
paragraphs.
about that. Like, tell me about that because you have strong beliefs, and hey, you're like, well, here we go.
I love doing it because there's not enough of it.
Agreed. Well, agreed. Yeah, agreed.
There's only a few people out there that actually go, time out. Let's examine this a little bit further. And I want more than just you claiming something. I want us to know how you did it, what's going on, and the fact that people bring baggage in that they hide. And so they might be a sleazeball in another part of their life, and they're doing this paranormal thing, and they're hiding behind this persona, and you're going, wait a second,
right?
Well, you had a previous guest who was supposed to be
weeks ago, yeah,
like that, yep. And the thing is, there's no credentials that says, hey, I'm a legitimate paranormal investigator. There's no schooling. There's nothing. Anyone could be off the street and go into someone's house, and they could be a complete scumbag there to rob the place. You don't know. And it's like it's just too open, chaotic, and there's, like I said, and there's not enough criticism of it. And people get away with screwing people over all the time. I mean, there's grifters everywhere in this field.
Grifters.
And yeah, and you see really good people with good intentions getting burned. They buy a piece of equipment, and it, $100, and 2 years later, nothing.
So, all right, but so here's the thing. So, they don't believe. Like, all right, wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. So people get away with stuff because we've literally gone through 3 years of, if you comment the wrong way on something to someone, it could send you down a whole rabbit hole of what they say you are by your comment. Like, in other words, listen, I'll explain this. I'm somebody that's walked a fine line where I've done the show for over a year and a half. I've got people that are very right wing, very left wing that are on the shows, right? And I've always walked the line. I just walk a line because my job's the host. I'm not trying to bring it one way or the other. But
you're more of an observer.
Yeah, they don't let you comment anymore though. Like they bullied people for a long time, and that went unnoticed and that went unchecked. Right. Like there was a lot of bullying, social bullying, where if you said something, right, you all of a sudden they spun it to where they attach you to Donald Trump or something, and then you send you on your way. So it's like it's a perfect time for like fake paranormal to spread because no one's making comments, because no one wants to have the cojones to get into it with somebody. Right. Because if you get into it with somebody, you're going to get a bunch of other people that don't know you that are going to attack you and say that you're all these other things.
Right.
Exactly. There's a lot of that in the paranormal because a lot of egos mainly, and people just follow that blindly sometimes.
Right. And then I think you got a lot of the wrong people claiming to be investigators when they're really just watching stuff on TV, and they believe everything that they see, and they start their celebrity worship.
They're really good actors, and they get like, hey, you want to do a ghost show? Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I can pretend.
And there's quite a few of the people on TV. They are actors, and they're playing a role of a paranormal investigator.
Right. So there are shows that we know are fake, but are fake. Like, in other words, they're acting. We get that. So there are those that are, but all right. So then there's the people that tell you, all right, People that tell you stories where they cross over are the ones where I start to have a problem with. I think like if you stay in your lane with me, like in other words, if you're a ghost guy and you're just talking ghosts, I'm like, oh okay. If you're a I don't know, cryptid guy, it's just talking. Oh, okay. But if you're like,
Mhm.
you know what? Not only did I see Bigfoot, but I was abducted. You know, give me anything else. I have a
Bigfoot
ghost
abducted, sort of like
go to my house. There's a
Abraham
doll at the
Lincoln.
end of my bed that's haunted. If they just go boom, 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 boom,
Right.
I go, really? I mean, you're blessed because that guy, well, I won't say his name, that was gonna be on the show. Like he had all those things, and it's like,
Right. And it's constantly happening. Not just once, but every so often, just to keep their name out in public. And it seems like, and they're always like, I don't know, say reinventing themselves, but they're always just adding more to the story.
And it is, I won't mention his name. There is an investigator like that, or a ghost hunter, if you will. He's from the New England area. We had him as a guest on the show. He saw Bigfoot. He had alien encounters. He saw dead relatives. He had so many experiences that he could note that he had no actual documentation of, or no investigative nothing to, but he just made all these claims.
And
He claims to be an investigator, and he hosts these events, and he makes money off of it.
Right.
You know.
But the thing is, it's all based on trust.
Right.
And if you're in it to rip people off, it's the easiest field to do it in.
yes. Well,
Because
I mean,
you can make up anything. I could say, like I said, well, I was abducted earlier today. Well, you can't prove me wrong.
no.
You know, and that's the kind of crap that people take advantage of. And unfortunately, there's a lot of naive people out there who get suckered all the time. And I hate seeing people on Facebook going, well, I quit investigating. Well, what happened? You know, I'm on Facebook and I get screwed over, and people talk shit all the time, and I'm just fed up with the whole field.
But
And
that would make me go, all right, but you're in it to do the investigating.
Exactly.
So the whole field.
Just
right?
I would just tell people, just stop going on social media altogether then.
Yeah, because well, paranormal investigating isn't social media. Like
No.
There is a separation. Like they go on social media to
Right.
promote, which I get. We're on social media to promote, you know, but it's not the same thing. So there
Right.
are the true blue social media, I mean, a non-social media paranormal investigators that are still doing their thing.
Right. You get ego involved with it.
Ego.
And unfortunately, a lot of people start to believe they need to be recognized for what they've done by being on social media.
The biggest thing for me is that the paranormal awards. I think that's the biggest joke ever. It's like just a reason to like, oh, hey, look at me, and like, what do you get an award for? What's the criteria for this award process?
Right.
And who decides who who get? You know, it's
that award stuff is hilarious.
They
Like, most of the tweets on Twitter. I mean, are you really serious?
they need me. They need me to win an award. Oh my God, the acceptance speech. If they ever gave me a shot or something like that, and for best, legit. I mean, for best paranormal podcast, legit paranormal, and I would come up and I would just, I would lay into it.
Rip everybody.
No, I wouldn't. I would act like it was the greatest achievement of my life. Like, overly do it. Like, oh, and then Buddy said, I just got. Like, I would. They need me to win that award. It'll help. So if you're listening, it'll help. Trust me, it'll help. All right, but back to this. So, do you get in a lot of trouble though with the Rhode Island scene because of the fact that you just like go?
I've angered a lot of people, and a lot of those people are grifters themselves. Because what happens is that they see the process and they copy it, and they're going, no, I'm not allowing that. And there's a few people out there who allow people who are grifting, but they get away with it, and I hate that more than that than anything else because it delegitimates everything that honest people are doing. Even
So,
if, yeah, I mean, even the fact that, like, say, like a lot of this equipment, it might cost $50 to make, and they sell it for like $800 or something.
Exactly. Like
and you're going,
SLX, right?
And you're going, oh my God, I saw this on TV, therefore it's real, and I could get one for $800 and or some kind of other gadget that lights up and makes buzzer sound and crap like that, and it really costs nothing to make.
So, all right.
I'm not saying it doesn't work, this stuff, but they're ripping people off. You see, like the ghost box that we were using. People are out there selling it for like $1,000 for a box that probably cost them like $200 to make.
Right.
So, all right. So there's people that make stuff that obviously are making stuff that, like, to make money, but they're going a little overboard with their selling of it, their hyping of it. Here's the other issue I had. So I had a great time yesterday on the USS Salem. Met a lot of great people. Really did. Like, met a lot of new people that were really great. Then met some other people that would just
weird.
No. I can't use the word weird because
right. All people to say weird, right? With the paranormal.
Look at me. You know what I mean? Like, it's all your perspective. But a couple would say stuff like, "Oh yeah, I heard voices in that room, or I heard this in that room, or I heard that in that room. I heard something already. I saw this when I was in that room. I saw that." And I would just go, "I didn't see anything."
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they would go, "Okay." Like, because I guess they expect a ghost story back. Like, is that just become common? I give you a ghost story, you give me one back.
It's something like that. I've hosted and been part of some public investigations, and it always seems like there's like one person who just, if they got to copy everything they see on TV. So and on TV, because of editing and everything, there's like something happens like every 2 minutes. And you got like this one person who just says every 2 minutes, I got touched, I heard something, I saw something. And yeah, you're copying what you just saw last night.
So all right, so but they would say that to me, and I think everyone was offended when I would be like, "Yeah, I didn't hear anything," and I wasn't saying it to like be like a curmudgeon, but I was just being like, "No, I didn't hear anything." And then there was this one unique person who came over, and I mean, like, I stood out just because of my head and the fact that I'm just, I'm me.
You're the king.
No, I'm just in the middle of a paranormal thing. I don't claim to be anything to do with. I host shows. That's just right. Here we go. So she's telling me stuff, and I'm going, I'm not. And he's gone. He left me. And, and the thing is, the what she wore had had this little beeper thing, and I guess it beeps whenever they ask it questions. There's been proof of it. I'm not saying I disbelieve her. I'm not. Whatever. It was a big, gigantic clown doll wrapped around her that had a name.
You should have taken a picture of that.
Yeah, I definitely should have.
The pictures, and she's such a unique. She was really a sweet person. She's got like a mohawk with and she's got this thing wrapped around her, and there's a spirit box type thing on the front of her, and it supposedly goes beep 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 whenever they ask it questions. And the group that was in the room with us actually did like a study on her, and they say that it does answer questions. So she comes over to me and she's telling me this, and I'm going, I don't not know.
It's beeping answers like Morse code.
Well, it beeps like, I don't know. It beeps if you. So anyways, she's saying and I'm going, she's telling me, and I'm saying, I'm not really. That's not my no. And she goes, well, what then? Why do you do the show, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I like to talk to people. It's fun to hear what's going on. I like to hear people's perspective. I've been learning things. I'm like, I believe in a lot of stuff I've heard. I just, some things I block out. I go,
Right.
that's why it hasn't beeped at all since you've been here. And she was like, I'm like, I have a block. Like, I block out that stuff. It's a known fact. Like, I'm not going to bother people. They're not bothering me. I got my cube. It's not going to work. And she was like, and she was like, odded out by the and Bud, you know this. It did not work when it was near me. And then when we said goodbye, it didn't work. And the minute me and you walked through the door and we're walking away, we heard in the background, I swear to God, Kevin, beep, 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 beep. I'm going, told you. I'm like, well, you know, try to explain that. But like, they can't get it because they didn't understand. Like, people didn't understand. Like, I'm doing a paranormal show, and like, why didn't I believe in this or that or this or that? And it's like, even if I was like a paranormal investigator, like they might not know that. I don't have to believe in everything. Like,
Right.
I think we need to all come together and understand that we don't all have to believe in everything, but we can still get together like an old like 80s sitcom. Like, everybody can blend together. We don't all have to believe the same shit. Like, and because I don't believe what you believe in doesn't mean I'm gonna attack you. Which brings me back to you, Kev. Like,
well, I want to say a big thing is just being open-minded and listen to someone and see what they claim and then scrutinize it afterwards. You know, and like, say, like this person that you were talking about, they might be getting really cool stuff. I don't know. You don't know. Maybe. But the thing is, you're going to have to take it to the next level of going, okay, this is why I believe it's happening. And here's my proof. You know, not just I can't take anyone's word for it anymore.
Okay.
You know, in general, I like to talk to people. I like to hear the reasoning. So when it comes to even paranormal investigating, I would like proof. And when people get really like guarded about their proof,
it's gotta be a red flag.
Right.
You got to be open. You got to go, this is what's happening. Well, where's your evidence? This is what I have. This is what I've concluded. And it's all available to you in raw data.
So here's the other thing I said. I said another thing that made people sad around me, and I felt bad about it too. I said, look, and this is how we're going to transition. I said, look, there's stuff going on in the world right now, right? Like everybody here, their goal, not everybody, let me rephrase that. Most of the people here, their goal is to find the next big thing, to be the next big thing, to discover the next thing, just to be that person. That's their whole goal. They're all striving to be something. I don't know. I don't know who that person is.
That's kind of the goal. I think a lot of it is just I'm bored off my ass on Saturday night. And
no, I like those people.
And amuse myself. I'm going to spend $20 going to a haunted location rather than to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I like those people. What I'm saying is the ones that are like doing the whole
like, hey, I can get a paycheck out of this.
Yeah, now that's a different. Now they're the ones who are like bending stuff. They're bending the truth.
Well,
they're just flat out lying.
Yeah, but here's my point. What I was saying was, I don't think there's anything that anybody in this room right now could discover, right? That they could like get 100% proof and then tell the public, look, I got it. Because right now the public would go,
right.
Like, hey, by the way, there's UFOs. What did Biden say? There's UFOs. Right. What was the score? There's UFOs. The government they don't even care. So I'm like, no matter what you guys come up with, discovered, the next great discovery out of this whole group, it's going to fall on deaf ears. No one's listening to anything.
They're all watching that stupid trial.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one. By the way, that's another one. Look. I don't want to get all conspiracy theorist on you guys. But what's the deal with how that Depp trial is so, my God, like broadcast?
Right.
It's on everything. It's ESPN did it. No, I'm kidding. But I'm like,
I would doubt it.
It's ridiculous. Like, all it is, and I'm sorry, we're rambling, but all it is, in my opinion, is her making this same cry face on the stand, stumbling, while Johnny Depp has his hair back in a ponytail, smiling with like poker glasses. That's all I know. This is going on, right? Is that what it is?
I'm not watching much. Whatever I see is on social media, or I might flip by something on TV. But I'm not staying on this and watching it anymore.
But I'm saying that they're using that to block to hide something.
It's just meaningless crap that sells. And though they would rather push that than the UFO conference that just happened, or even like the Epstein stuff that just went away. That was never in the public side. That just went away. And so that's important.
You know what?
But that's a whole other story.
If it wasn't for how we are broadcasting what we're broadcasting, right? I would get into that with you, because we don't even know what happened to her. I don't know what finally happened to her. I don't know how I don't know how it ended. I know that a lot of people were just like, yeah, well, all right. Yeah. Well, this is all, the other.
All I know, there's a lot of names that could have come out, that should have come out, and they never did.
There was some names that were like,
there should be a lot of people in prison right now, and they're not.
Not even in prison.
They are on their
questioned. Whatever, yeah. I would accept questioned. All right, let's switch. All right, the UFO thing.
Yep.
What's the deal? What is really going on? Because here's where I'm at, right? And I know this is, my insanity. It might be a couple beers in, but I'm almost at the point where I feel like aliens are now beneath us in the ocean, where those places are we can't get down to, because I keep seeing a lot of the ships go straight down. So like this spots of the ocean, right. They say like what we've discovered, like what they say, some dumb number like 5% or 10% of the entire ocean, like how far it is. I keep getting the feeling now it's like Submariner.
I do know they've mapped quite a bit of the ocean, just that we're not allowed to know that, and they do monitor quite a bit, and we're not allowed to know that.
So you think they know more about the ocean than they're saying?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Why would you think they don't?
I spent 10 years working for the Navy Undersea Weapons Base, and that's as far as I'm going to go with it, I guess.
All right, so all right.
It's the ultimate hiding spot, Mike. Why wouldn't you, as a military, why wouldn't you utilize the oceans?
And one of the things that kind of like goes off of this was that when the CIA talked about that Monroe Institute, binaural beats, astral projection and stuff like that, and part of the report said that they believe that the universe is holographic in nature. And when you start thinking about, okay, if I was in a higher dimension, the Earth's like physical substance just wouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see a craft in the air go into the ocean, or even actually in the land, like in the side of a mountain that people report, there's no disturbance, there's no change in anything. And I think it's the fact that the element that we're in is non-existent to them. So like the water won't affect it, land won't affect it, and so that's why you're going to see like USOs, and entering in and out of the water. And there's no, like I said, there's no change in speed. There's no impact or nothing.
Right.
All right.
So to me, I'm going, well, if you start thinking, because there's a lot of physicists think about and theorize about higher dimensional aspects of reality, and when you start considering like holograms and stuff like that, and our three-dimensional existence just doesn't matter. So that's one of I don't know, when you start delving into it a little bit more of going,
no, I have to make sure that it gets explained so that the dumbest of the top, whatever, understand it. So
Right.
I'm gonna keep drilling into you till we get it like in like street terms. So what we're saying is these UFOs now are these in what was released? Does it talk about stuff like this? The fact that they show no propulsion, the fact that they just hit the water, there's not even really like a ripple.
Right. Now,
Is it in that stuff?
now, up until recently, it used to be more of like a nuts and bolts kind of a thing to the UFOs, and then they changed it to unidentified aerial phenomena, which could be anything. And I think a lot of people have caught on over the past few years that a lot of what we see may not be actually nuts and bolts. It could be a projection. It could be just a light. It could be something real, physically real at a different dimension than ours. But to us, it looks like a solid object, but maybe it's not.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that we're gonna maybe like 40 years, 50 years, 100 years from now look back and think of the Avengers? I mean, Marvel Comics multiverse as like a genius invention, because it seems like everybody's using that excuse now, like not an excuse but reasoning for everything. Like, in other words, if you guys follow the movies with the multiverse, now they can do anything. Anybody can be anywhere for any time for any reason because that's just how time works. And it seems like more and more that's what we're getting at with this.
I kind of don't buy into it. It's too easy of a cop out.
Right.
But that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Plus, I think if you look at it more like a computer, efficiency and resource wise, that it's just waste. I think everyone creates kind of their own reality and within the bigger reality. And
right,
so, because like a multiverse, you're talking about every time you make a decision, another universe is created. Well, that's just stupid. That means since this morning, you just created another like billion universes.
Right.
And then, because every time you made a decision, that spinoff of you made another decision. That spinoff made another. Before you know it, by the time you went to the bathroom this morning, there's I was like, there's another billion.
But then you believe in like when people see like moments captured in time, like by ghosts that they keep repeating things as almost like it's like a time loop.
Visual,
yeah. I it's kind of weird because you like the way I just love the whole glitch thing. Glitch in Matrix is called.
She thinks it's more of a glitch.
See, it's called a glitch, but I don't know if it's an error in like the software. It's intentional. Because I can see if it's intentional, it's supposed to, get your curiosity going. So, and because it seems like that happens a lot with experiencers, UFOs, etc. Is all of a sudden something happens. Now they have like a paradigm shift. And they get into stuff that they have never planned on. If they were happy just, going to work, punching the clock, and all of a sudden they're going to UFO conferences and they're exploring and they're getting into higher physics. And they're like, well, I need to go on this vacation. I need to go see a USO instead of riding the jet ski. Now, is it intentional? Perhaps.
All right. I'm like always like, oh, okay. So all right. UFOs. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Like, what are they saying it is? What do you think it is? What do you think is going on? And my biggest fear is that it's not from outside of this world, that someone else has that technology, because a human having that technology is far worse than that being a UFO, in my opinion.
No way.
It's far worse.
Really?
It's far worse if humans did have it, because you can't trust them, because next thing you know, they want world domination. You know,
Right, exactly.
but
Mike,
however, now what I say, like some of the theories is that I work on is that this could be a purposeful thing going on. It might appear different ways. The three of us could be going outside and we happen to all look up in the sky. Say Mike sees an object that looks like a silver craft, Buddy sees a light, and I see nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And all three are real.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something more going on than just what you see is what you get. And I think there's something underlying that. And I think that happens with all paranormal stuff.
So beauty is in the sight of the beholder.
Kind of like that. It might be, who knows? I mean, the fact that it might be intended for you to perceive it. It wasn't intended for me to see it. Or
okay,
yeah.
So it's
that makes
predestined, you're saying.
That makes more sense. So it's happening, but it doesn't mean that it has to be happening for everybody's reality,
Right?
Because
there's a really good study that I recently heard about. It was this doctor. She worked with savants, and we've all heard about these guys, like the one guy who was brought up in a helicopter. They flew around New York City, and I don't know how many minutes he was up in the air. He came in down, and then he spent the next couple hours drawing New York City from memory.
Yeah, I've seen
right. And there are stories like that with a lot of them. Rain Man was like that. And what this doctor discovered is she temporarily lost her license to practice because someone said, "You're not going down this road." She said these people were highly evolved in like ESP. They had like telepathy. This one study that she did, it was about this girl who's supposed to have been like this math genius. They've actually, it turned out that she was actually reading the thoughts of the person doing the experiment. And they were like, so they think that a lot of it is they're tapping into their subconscious, and it is proven that there's like a universal consciousness that we're all part of. It's just that they could tune into it because the way the brain malfunctioned, so to speak, that allowed them to tap into it better than us. But the thing is, they can't function in our normal society because they're information overload. They can't do it because they like to say like the ones that memorize everything. They can't walk down the street because they hear and perceive and they take in all information, and it's just overwhelming. With us, we block out like something like 94% or something like that because we just couldn't do it.
So, Kevin, let me ask you something. You talking about ESP. People that like supposedly like can bend the spoon with their brain, or like move an object, or like communicate telepathy, or like do stuff with their minds that not like the 99% of the rest of the world can do. Do you think that's legitimate? Do you think that's real? And how is it so if it is?
I am big into stuff like remote viewing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the military, the DoD.
Like
term.
astral projecting, that's a big one in the paranormal field.
Yeah. See, I can't say either way, but the way they explain remote sensing, remote viewing, is that you tap into that universal consciousness, so you don't actually go anywhere. Your perception goes somewhere else, and so I kind of did it myself years ago when I was doing more meditating. There seems like the fact that you just quiet your brain, so you're not perceiving all sorts of lights and sound, whatever. So you quiet yourself down, and then you have the intention, and intention is everything. And then like you get the coordinates, or say Buddy had like an envelope with a picture in it, and Mike is supposed to view what's in the envelope, and you try it. It might just happen just like that. You might describe, the shape, maybe the color, but you can't say what it is. But then Buddy goes, actually, it's a house, but you perceived 4 walls and a roof and a color of it, but you didn't know what it was. Or you might get an image of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it happens a lot. And a lot of these people who do remote viewing, there's classes going on probably right now all over the world.
Right, at the Ryan Center and stuff like that.
All over. And the big thing, too, that sold me on the whole aspect of that is that a lot of these guys who spent years in the Army and the CIA, but mostly in the Army, because the Army contracted out to a lot of agencies, many years they've been doing this, and a lot of them got out and they have their own companies and people hire them. Fortune 500 companies hire them to remote view, but they don't say what it is and what they're doing. Right. They're like, and I know there's guys who are doing like remote viewing cryptocurrency, and you get hired on if you hit a percentage of it. If you're hitting the mark, sports betting is big.
Yeah.
These people are making money, but they're not. You're not going to see them on mainstream media because that's not supposed to happen, and people don't want to know the fact that you could actually go remote view the sports page for tomorrow and get hits.
Yeah, right. Let me ask you one more thing, Kev. I saw it take place last week a couple weeks ago we were at SK Victorian Mansion. I've done it myself with another group at the King County Jail. I forget the name of the experiment. It's where you plug headphones into a spirit box, run the spirit box, and then you blindfold and deprivate the sensory of the person that's listening. And then everybody in the room kind of like asks questions, and then this person like spewing out answers. How accurate do you think that is? And have you had any luck with it?
I hate that Estes method is called. I hate it.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea what that person's hearing. Right. And all it is this to believe you could take a spirit box and just put a headphones in it, and all of a sudden you get 100 times more stuff. Well, it doesn't just work like that. For one thing, it's going to take a practice of becoming that medium that you think you are. But many times I've actually gone, wait a second, I'm running a spirit box at the same time without them knowing it and heard nothing but static. And yet they're speaking full sentences.
That's awesome.
And so my thing is, okay, do that, but have a split. Run another line to a speaker or something else where other people can hear it, and they never do it. And that's a common piece of crap that they pull on TV all the time.
Mm-hmm. All right, then I have a couple quick questions.
It's easy to run another line to another, a third party speaker or something.
So, all right, I have a question about the schools. Before I ask the question about the schools, Kev, when you go to a restaurant, do you always ask for Coke? Is it Coke or Pepsi? You ask for Pepsi?
If I was to do it like now, I'd say like a Diet Pepsi.
Ooh,
really?
Diet Pepsi is better than Diet Coke.
I just didn't know anybody who would ever ask for Pepsi over Coke. I've never, because I never. It's always like always,
I think what
they apologize. They apologize.
Coke is tart, and Pepsi is sweet, and I don't like the tart a whole lot. It kind of dries your mouth out.
And Diet Coke just tastes like dirt, and Diet Pepsi tastes delicious.
Like I now I'm drinking raspberry tea.
But my point is, like, you say, I'll have a Coke, and they apologize and say, "Ooh, we only have Pepsi." Is that all right? Pepsi products okay? Like, I never have it the opposite way. I don't know.
It depends on the part of the country you're in, but I never just say I'll have a Coke. But for parts of the country, Coke just means soda. So they'll bring out anything.
Let's ask this then. What do you believe about the schools? How legit are the schools? Like a school. Right. I mean, because listen, here's where I come in. they tell we've had past guests tell me about these schools where they go to harden and like focus these skills, and then they get like certificates or whatever, and it's like it's a weird thing if you're like if you don't believe in the paranormal at all, right? You take
Right.
yourself out of it, and you come from a school, you go to school for college and sports, whatever, or schooling, and then you hear about a school that does this. Like, how real is real? I want to know your honest opinion on how real these schools are. And how good are they?
Now,
And don't mind me, I'm going to step off it for a second. I got to pick up what I just dropped.
Right. So there are, well, in schooling itself, like you could have, say like remote viewing.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is that they teach either the remote viewing that the military created. So there actually is a manual, there is actual training that's done. And so they use that training manual either as it is, or they make it like an alteration. They tweak it, but it's pretty much the same thing. So that was something that was proven, that was used by the government, and then it's school like that. You get. I'm pretty sure there's like a MOS for remote viewing, or some offshoot of that, some other kind of name. And then I think a lot of it too is like the parapsychology part of it. That's more of a standard for doing testing and using standard operating procedure for setting up experiments. And so there's a psychology aspect to it, where this is how they actually do it, as far as like here's the rules on how to set up the experiment, follow this, and then you repeat it, and so I understand that. But anyone who's saying, I know what a ghost is, I know what this is, I have the facts. Well, you don't have the facts.
Oh shit.
You might believe it. That doesn't mean it's real. It might mean you're crazy. But
in other words, just because it's happened to you doesn't make it real.
See, my thing too, and I kind of had this argument lately, is that you might have the experience, but you don't know what it actually is. You don't know what the mechanics are that created it. And unfortunately, you can't repeat it. Right. Even like a lot of the ESP tests, they had those Zener cards. So there's like a star, there's a circle and a square, I think a triangle. And there's people who've gotten like 80% accuracy on those tests. And so it's a way above chance, but to actually ask them how it worked, they go, I don't know. I just close my eyes and I might get an image. How they got that image, no one knows.
All right. So can I compare that to getting vibes off people when you meet them?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like you meet somebody and you kind of know, all right, this is this person. Or not even just, it takes like maybe a sentence. Right. And you're like, I immediately get a vibe.
Right.
And so here's my I guess my
and by the way, we all have that. We just don't, we just take it for granted. It's just a natural thing, so we don't question it. But we get that all the time. We, like, well, the example of like someone walks up behind you, you don't see them, but all of a sudden you're startled, and you turn around, there's someone standing there.
Well, I attribute to the animal nature of us. Like,
but that's
animal instinct.
No, that sneaking up behind you, and getting so close they don't touch you, but you don't even see them or hear them. So you know that they're there. That's
never happened in my life.
So we I think there's like 5 different senses we have for ESP, and you might gravitate towards one more than any other. You might have like auditory or a gut feeling or something, and there might be some relationship to the fact that there actually is brain tissue in the gut and in the heart, and that might factor into these perceptions. So you might be drawn more towards a feeling rather than hearing or seeing something, or like intuitively you just instantly get like an image.
It's
You
vibration.
you get a feeling, and
It's
that's one.
vibrations with me. It's
Right,
Right,
and you
vibration.
see,
I swear to you, it is, guys.
Something.
I've always like, I had this argument, like not an argument, but I guess I talked about it with Micah. Anyways, uh, Micah, my good friend. So I talked about how everything is vibrations. I feel like when you talk to people, like, you immediately pick up a vibration from them. Like at least I do. And so when people talk about like their paranormal abilities and all that other stuff, and they hear things, I am now at a point where I'm so far into this where I like I'll hear you out if it makes sense to me. I'll believe you because I realized through all this two things. One, that doing this show for a year and a half actually strengthened my faith in what I believe in.
I was
which
going to
is
ask
great.
you. I was going to ask you, what have you gained since starting this, or what have you learned about yourself?
Dude, that is the ultimate question, because that is what I've been pondering. What I did learn is this. So doing this show has actually calmed me down in a sense where I have more patience for people, because I had to learn to have more patience for people with this, because I learned early on I couldn't just go, "Oh, you're full of shit. Come on now. That doesn't make a show."
Right.
And I'm not right by saying that. So as Buddy Drink, as an Italian, a basic instinct is to just, I just jump out and say what's on my mind. But what I learned is this. All right. One, everybody has these different experiences. I can't say anybody's wrong on what they saw. However, there's some people I know are full of shit. I know are full of shit. I don't care, because that's where I realize where my power lies. So when I'm around people of the paranormal world, I'm not really in their world, but I'm there,
Right.
and I think you kind of know that I'm there. But I'm
You're
just
an
there.
observer, Mike.
Yeah, I'm just there to do what I
Yeah.
got to do, and it is what it is. But talking to mediums, talking to people like that, talking to spiritual people, talking to other things like that, talking to moving on, it actually made me feel better with death in general. This whole show for a year and a half, because what I've learned is, and when my mom passed the day after Christmas, what I learned is, even in that moment when she passed, there was an energy, extremely an energy, like in that moment for like a little while, right? Because like I told a story where the pen kept dropping out of my pants, like it was like a comedy routine, like my mom was busting my balls from the afterlife, because my mom said, when I die, I'm gonna haunt you the shit out of you. Like I'm gonna show you all kinds of stuff to make sure you know. And she was trying to do that stuff, and I was like, I don't want to see it, like for the first couple of days. But like, so I learned to at least look for shit like that. How about that?
Right.
Like I was more aware of like things that were happening. In other words, things happened, and I didn't just ignore the things. I looked at them and I took them in check, and I said, all right, that did happen, and that's crazy. And then I was like,
Right.
that did happen. So starts adding up, and I'm like, I felt better about it, right? I
Right.
actually felt, I feel much better with her passing than I did when my dad passed, because that was more of just being lost. Now I'm at a point
Right.
where I'm settled in with this. Other than that, though, I'll be honest. What I really love about the show is that I get to ask people questions that maybe they're not prepared for, and we can delve into a topic of conversation that maybe you haven't seen 1,700 times on
Right.
other podcasts, where they're set at the exact same tempo, pitch, speed, tone,
Right.
effect, whatever word you want to add on to that.
Right.
It's all the same stuff. So I want to know. That's why I started off with shit stir, because I want to know about that. Like,
Right.
I think people should know why you say what you do say, because I feel like, and this is just me observing you, I feel like sometimes you say things that you 100% mean, and then sometimes you say things to make people think about it and see if you can get a response to further
Right.
what your thought.
I'm trying to get dialogue, and it
Yeah,
seems like
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
it's what a couple of people might respond, but I'm hoping that at least people are reading it and thinking, and because like you kind of like alluded to this, we sit there and go, hey, I'm going to play a recording of this voice that I got, and well, guess what? That same, say, Mike Jones' voice came up at this haunted location. 100 other times. Who cares? We know
Right.
it's going on. Something's going on. What is it? Is it, you start peeling back the layers. Where's it coming from? How does it work? What's really going on? And then you keep going down that rabbit hole. And I think most of the people are just stuck at just going, oh my God, I got this voice, and they're good enough.
Because there's no rules. There's no rules in the
There are no
paranormal
rules.
world.
No.
But
There are
there's
no
really
rules.
not, in the sense that
The
in other
guidelines.
words, there is, but there isn't. People don't have to share stuff. They don't have to like do this, or again, like you're saying, they don't have to like look into what's really going on. They can
Right.
just keep getting clips of like this voice that was out of place.
You say that they still do share stuff, Mike. They just share stuff at their own perspective, and then show stuff at what they experience. They're not open to any other perspective.
So there it is. So there it is. All right.
understanding.
What you just said is exactly where it is. There's where the problem is. It's their experience.
Their
It's
interpretation.
all about everyone else's experience. They want to tell you about their experience. It all revolves around their experience, which is weird to me because, and this is what brings me out to the broader world. I always thought as a kid, we were taught that eventually we would all kind of be the same. The goal was for us to all be on the same page. Everybody is the same. We're just all the same. You can be an individual, but we're all part of the same team. Like, that's where people get it wrong. It's like you can do whatever you want to do, whatever crazy shit you want to do. But at the end, if we're all on the same team, it's going to be better. Dennis Rodman was a freak of nature that like would come in drunk, absolutely stinking drunk from the night before. Jordan and Pippen would stand there. They'd watch him get on the treadmill. He would run like a maniac for like an hour before the game. They never worried about him. Why? Because whenever the game time came, Rodman showed up. And in the paranormal world, that's my analogy. It's like there's all these different characters. I just wish that like when like these shows came together, you're trying to tell me like that if all like the speakers didn't get together and do like a I'll speak with you, you speak with me type of thing. Let's open this up. Why don't we have an open conversation? Instead of let's split my time with you doing our speeches, and then your time we'll just do open conversation questions. Like, why are we not doing more of that? Like, I don't want to see what you have, and then your quick explanation, because there's no depth to that. I want to see something where it's more like these guys believe this, these guys believe this. Let's have a conversation.
Or like I've done presentations myself where I've presented evidence from specific locations, and people like say Ken DaCosta has like sort of, hey, that's funny that you had that experience because I have this experience that's very much similar to yours, and we you kind of share like what findings and what like Kevin said, what was the moon, like what was the environment like, what was like who was there, what were the conditions. You look at everything, but that doesn't really happen.
But that's like AA,
on a larger scale in the paranormal,
buddy. That's like AA paranormal,
right? Exactly.
That's like, hey, my name is Buddy.
Hey,
I'm a paranormal investigator,
and I like both. So yeah, it's
now my part of my interest is like what was not similar, what contradicted,
right?
And then you start delving into, okay, am I affecting it? Do I have something to do with it? Is it my intention to have a bad experience, therefore I get a bad experience?
All right.
Or Buddy goes into the same place expecting a good time and something good happens to him.
Right.
So guys,
so
then would it not be better, instead of doing something where people just speak and give their lecture and then you listen, right? Instead have something that's moving and active. Wait, it's an auditorium. People explain their experiences, differences, similarities are kept on the board to talk about, right? I think that discussion room would be something worth going to. Like, in other words,
there are people who talk about like the para-unity, and there's some other groups that actually have discussion, but it never gets traction.
Wouldn't that be better though?
Very few people actually do talk about it.
No, yeah, but like everyone that went to like everybody that went to that event yesterday.
Yeah.
These people were all right. There were some intelligent people there. There were some
for sure.
older people there that were like really interested in the history, but also the paranormal. And it's like, if you get an open room, and as long as you like mediate it correctly, meaning like I'll run it, like because that way if it gets out of hand, you know what I mean, buddy, we'll just drag the person out the back, and then nobody else will speak up again. You know what I mean, though. Like it's gonna be something that's not gonna let people just start yelling their shit, like as if it's like a friggin' like a social media the whole time while you're trying to get the conversation. Because my thing is, let everybody speak. Let's see where we turn up. Let's see where it ends up. And like to do that face to face in a room of people, I think, guys, we just hit upon something that would be intense, tense, and phenomenal. Like, let's discuss a couple of topics.
Right.
If we disagree, we can disagree, but like, let's not just completely like. The one thing we can't do is the old when someone says something, everybody goes. Like, we got to try to manage that. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is the worst. But like, buddy, wouldn't that be a great time to like have a certain group of certain things, certain topics for certain times that are open conversations with 2 or 3 different special guests that will speak on the topics, and then take questions.
Yeah, it's good. It sounds good, Mike. I do like, honestly. When I first started going to these conferences, I expected to see more evidence. I expected to hear more evidence. I expected these guys who've been doing this for like 30, 40 years to have some compelling evidence as me as a young investigator.
I expected a lot more work to be done in their presentation.
You generally don't see that at these paranormal conferences. You see a lot of egos. You see a lot of cattiness.
Wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad yesterday. No, but I mean that you don't in the paranormal community, everybody kind of wants to get along and doesn't want to ruffle each other's feathers and say, hey. So that like that EVP that you have, yeah, I think that's just someone farting. I don't think that's like a demon or anything.
And
nobody kind of wants it. There was a group in Rhode Island, in fact, that the guy would make himself sick. They do videos. There was like talk of like demons, and it was just like foolishness. But nobody.
Hey, buddy, let Kevin talk.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, 3 times in a row now.
That's fine, buddy. No,
go ahead, Kev.
I want to say, it's so hard. Like a trust thing too. You're gonna have to believe that person is gonna be honest and talk about and have their input into it. And it might be honest. They might be full of crap. They might be confusing a noise that they recorded, because that voice recorder not only picked up in the building, it picked up crap happened 200 feet down on the road. But you didn't hear it, but the voice recorder did. And so you have to work through it. You have to have like that best piece of evidence that you can get, that clear, EVPs and whatever. The shadow figure everything needs to be ruled out. And unfortunately, most people don't put the effort into it.
So these are
very few people. When I got into this stuff, I started with a voice recorder. Within a year, I had about 20 cameras, 20 voice recorders. I actually bought a minivan because my car couldn't hold all my crap. And when I started looking around, no one has anything. People have been dead for like 30, 40 years now. What did they bring? A point and shoot camera.
Right.
What the hell is that going to do? It doesn't. And then I'm throwing stuff out everywhere. I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to cast the biggest net possible. I'm not going to just flip a worm in the water. I'm trolling this with a freaking net.
But so here's the thing. And as we start to wrap up, we actually have a video where we actually caught a voice. The group of us, the 3 of us. Like, that's actually a legitimate video that we have on the site, on the YouTube channel, and people have watched it, and the response has been, they go, wow, and then that's it.
That next, I want my
I'm
neck
like,
fixed.
that's
You know,
why. Look, that's
I
why
haven't-
it's
seriously,
people's experiences.
I
It's
haven't
your
posted
experience.
anything in like 4 years probably,
Really?
because it doesn't do me any good, and people go, well, I want the next thing. I want oh, okay, I heard an EVP. I want to see an apparition.
Right.
I want to hear a demon. You know, and this
I want to get more into what's going on with is there multiple timelines? See, I'm not multiple universe. I'm more of a timeline guy because I think where the glitch comes in is timelines. And I think the one silly thing that I believe in more than I should is that Mandela effect. There are so many small details to that like you know
I think
the type of guy.
I think that falls under the glitch thing.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
know the type of guy like here's who I am. I'm really good at like useless trivia. So like if like TV, movies, music, any of that shit comes up, I'm money in the bank. Like I just immediately go, I got this. Or sports, like I know that stuff. Geography, no thank you. Science, no thank you.
Right.
History, I'm really no good. But other that stuff, I'm banging it out. So, buddy, I got off track. What was I just saying?
So you're good at bar trivia.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So I'm really good at bar trivia. I'm good at useless stuff. Like I'm good at useless stuff, like information that no people need. So I don't even know why I'm rambling to right now, buddy, because what I'm trying to get out in my head, what I'm trying to say is like my head is filled with useless information that I constantly remember. This Mandela effect did things that were slight that I go, that wasn't right. I know that's not right. Like it's not how I remember it. Bullshit. That's just not right.
Right.
And if
But
I
the
went
thing
down,
is,
go
okay,
ahead.
but you got to start questioning. Was that intentional? Was that meant for you to realize something was different? Was it? And that's where I start to question things. What's really going on is like, okay, if I remember Mandela dying in prison, which I swear I heard the video, like a radio broadcast saying that it happened. And then all of a sudden, years later, Mandela's alive. I'm like, what is this? I swear he died in prison.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going, but the thing
No.
is, most people don't realize that because they're not aware or they're not paying attention.
Did you see the Google search spikes? That's what blows my mind the most. In that time frame that we all thought he died, the early 90s or whatever it was,
Yep.
if you look at the Google search spike for Mandela or Mandela dies, Mandela's death, it was like wham, right at that time. And then boom, nothing. And then bang, again, when he really died. So,
Right.
like, why was everybody searching for it in that one time frame? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's something that if someone can explain to me, I'd love to hear it. Like, that makes no sense to me. Those are the things that, I guess, to answer your question in a long-winded way, I've learned from this show that I'm learning to pick up on. I'm picking up on the little shit, like the little things that aren't quite right. I want to know about that. Why does that do that? Why is it like that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it too is like the fact that it makes you conscious of going, wait, I'm not paying attention like I should. One of the things in the Army was 360 awareness. And I used to joke around about that, but really, you need a 360 awareness. Be mindful. And that's what problem most people have. They're not mindful. They're just going through life, you know, and just doing whatever. And
people
not
go
actually,
through life like their life is a movie, and somehow at the end, people are gonna watch the movie. They're not. Like
Yeah.
so. And what I've learned is again this: when I don't focus on me, and I focus on like everybody else around me, I'm happier. I have less worries. It's like when you focus inward, just bring everything inward. It sucks. Like you know what I mean?
When you start going, how do I feel thinking about how other people feel about me?
Yep.
And you're not going to do anything. You're not going to live up to your potential because you won't take risks. You won't do anything because you're always in fear of being ridiculed. But really, that's all on you. Yep. And that's one of the things too that I think I've become aware along this journey of mine is that why should I give a crap about what other people think about me? Because they're not really thinking about me whatsoever.
That's where so that's how I started the show, and that's where I think me and you are most similar. Like, I don't have to agree with everything you say, but
Right.
I agree with the fact that you should say when you want to say it. Like, I'm one of those people that's like, I'm so, again, walking the line. I'm so for free speech. Like, whatever side you're on, whatever horrific thing you say should be said, because it's your right to say it. That's my point. Like, I don't think we should ever stop somebody for saying something. Like, that's why every show I've been trying to, hopefully get this going. I want to get rid of comments. There should be comments on any social media post, like, because that's where it all starts. That's where all the bullshit starts. Somebody makes a post, and it's like, well, don't comment. Just don't comment.
I used to get offended when someone would, criticize me about a post or whatever. And now I'm at the point where I just laugh it off. I don't respond. I say nothing.
Oh, no.
And you know what? And I'm a happier person because of that.
Yeah, but all right, buddy, we'll end with this. You know what I did last week? I had a couple of people while we're doing the show, like, all of a sudden out of the blue, make a couple of comments. Oh, 2 weeks ago about like what I should ask or what I should say, and then we get into name calling.
Mike was a joke, and
then I just took them one by one and destroyed them, like insulted them and destroyed them. Because the thing is with this, when it comes to ball breaking, that's my territory, man. Like, I'm not gonna tell you anything about ghosts. I'm not gonna pretend like I know what ghosts are. But you don't go into an Italian's house and make fun of him.
Break his balls.
Right? It don't end up well, does it?
No.
All right. Kev, what do you get to say to wrap it up? What would you like to get on people's minds?
I think we're pretty much touched on it. If you're not feeling right about something, don't just accept it. Either you're gonna walk away, maybe say something, try to correct it. But don't take it personally. Just go, like, when I, find out that someone it's scamming, I don't want to see other people scammed. And be a voice when and you have to, and maybe you get enough people doing the right thing, it'll push away the grifters.
All right, but in doing so with the grifters and pushing them away, the term allegedly should always be used. And I don't believe in group bullying tactics. Like, I believe in, like, one-on-one dialogue. That's where I get a problem. You're right. Like, I love when you go after somebody, but like, I wouldn't want to see other people piling on, because I would want it to be your issue. Like, you get the answer from this. I don't want, because group bullying doesn't get any good answer.
I mean, if you're gonna ride someone else's wave, then no, go make your own wave.
Yeah, don't join on my fight. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't jump in on my fight. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
you don't have to, because I wouldn't have done it in the first place if I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I immediately, like, here's my thing. Like, I could see a kid say something horrifically wrong to somebody else, and then he starts to get beat up by 3 kids. I'll go help that kid, even though he said the wrong thing. So I have a I don't like, I guess the last couple of years have scarred me so much to the point where it's like, man, you motherfuckers, you won't let people say anything without, like, trying to shut them down, kill them, call them this, telling them and that. Like, no matter what we're talking about, from sports all the way to the paranormal and back again, like, people are crazy. So we're dealing with people now that, like, your sole way of talking to them is a way that they can hide behind a computer and be somebody that they're not. That's why I love getting together and talking. That's why yesterday the best time I had wasn't like everything else. It was just talking to people in the room. There's a couple times in that room we were at, conversations started about things, right, buddy? Like, little real things, and people were talking. It was like, and that was by far the best time I had.
Intelligent conversations about what's going on.
There's a group that I joined on Facebook, And every Saturday they would do like a live ghost box session online, and people from on the world would join in, listen, ask questions. But it got to the point where Thursday there's a group of us. We had a Zoom meeting because you can't talk one on one. You can't chat. You can't be on email or messenger and get the tone. Really understand what people are saying. You have to be, like I said, face to face. And right now, like having like a Zoom discussion is the best way we were going about it. And we would just hash out stuff, and it really makes a difference. But the thing is, it's only like 5 or 6 of us, and that's as far as it goes. And it might get to like our Facebook page, we might say something, but other than that, it doesn't get any traction beyond just our little group. And unfortunately, there's little groups like that everywhere. Just that, I'm not aware of everything. Buddy's not, you're not, and so we don't know who's doing what. And unfortunately, a lot of stuff is repeated over and over again. Someone new comes in the field, they're gung ho, and they're doing the same thing but Buddy did 12 years ago, and the same thing that someone did 12 years before that, and 12 years before that. The technology changes, but it's all the same stuff that's happening. And unfortunately, we don't know where it's growing. I would love to learn like the anomalies that happen. And like in my case, there was a time when I swear I felt a cold breeze blowing on me. And in the voice recorder, someone blew in the microphone. I'm like, holy crap, that's the first time that ever happened. That's awesome. Who else is having this happen to them? And I don't know. And I probably never will know.
Yeah, I really think, you know what? I think we hit upon something. It's really about shared experiences, not your experience. Like where we're going to get answers is shared experiences.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what we've come to in this hour, in 20 minutes. It's not your experience, which a lot of people focus on, they want to promote. It should be, let's all get together and see what we have for shared experiences so we can get some answers. Because honestly, I want answers. That's my kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't want anything else.
Yeah, there's a couple of people that I communicate with. We'll talk about stuff like photon energy, how carrier waves work. It's like how the radio works, and then so you understand like how a spirit box works, but also how you hear and see, the way of just understanding how our perception works. Learning about these things is more important than actually getting that EVP. Understanding how the brain actually is hearing is not what you think it is. It's information. That's it. There's data being flown in at you on photons. You don't see the color blue. You get the frequency that says, hey, here this is, and your brain interprets it as the color blue. And so there's a lot more going on than people are aware of. And so that's the kind of thing that over this COVID thing that really got me focused on is, okay, I got this information from doing ghost hunting. How does this relate to other physics? How does it relate to stuff that it's known science, that, or at least we assume that that's the real thing. It's like these are the laws of physics. How does it fit in with that? How does it violate it? Where's the separation between normal and paranormal?
That's a
And those are the kind of discussions that I want to have, and I have it with some people, but like I said, most people don't care.
Right.
So yeah, so that's the thing. Like, so that's I guess that answers my question. That the person who asked why I'm doing the show. That's literally it. I want to get answers.
You got more questions than just going to work and coming home and going to bed, getting up in the morning, going to work, coming home. There's more to life than just that.
Yep.
And you realize that. So you put your intention on, I want to learn what the hell is really going on beyond just this daily routine of getting up and going to bed, getting up and going to bed.
It is 100% agreement that we need to pay attention more.
And then it really goes to the bottom line of everything. What's the meaning of life? I mean, that's what it's all going to. What is the actual meaning of life?
I can leave you with that. I'll tell you what. How about you wrap it up? What anything else left to say to wrap it up before? Because when I wrap my part up, I'll tell you the meaning of life.
Tons to say, Mike, if you want to.
Buddy, you got anything to say to wrap it up?
I do have a few things to say to wrap it up, Mike. Michael, I will say that what Kevin had to say and what you had to say about perspective and about what one experiences and shared perspective is amazing. As a paranormal investigator, I often looked at not just my own perspective as what's said on audio or what I perceive on audio, but about what the rest of my team perceives in audio. Working with Kevin as a paranormal investigator, I also got to say you got to look at everything. Like Kevin has said, you just don't look at like, hey, I heard this. You got to look at like why I heard this and what's going on. You put cameras in all areas of the room. So if two investigators are hearing a woman's voice and a third investigator is off that camera but on another camera making the sound of a woman's voice, that you can determine that voice that everybody was hearing was not actually a spirit, but a person making up evidence, maybe to make his night more entertaining. And if anything, that's it. Kevin, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain anymore. It's just how the paranormal field is blown into proportion sometimes because of drama. And oh my God, these belts are so heavy, Mike. And because of people's ego and where people want to be in the paranormal world. The paranormal investigation is not about.
So, Kevin, there's a couple things you need to understand. One, you never steal the champ's belt. You never steal belts that you didn't win. Like, in other words, he didn't win no fantasy football championship in this league. He's not like what am I? I'm 19-5 in the USFL so far this year. That's my record in picking games. That's why I got that other belt. The champ got the other belt. So to steal the belts, I don't agree. So I'm gonna end it with this. The meaning of life is, to me, this is what I figured out. You got to take time to take care of yourself. That's just one thing. You got to make sure you take care of yourself. Then stop worrying about your issues and pay attention to the people around you. Get involved with them. Help them out. And you will feel better in life. If you are a good person that doesn't just worry about themselves and worries about others as well, like sincerely,
right?
That's exactly meaning to life. If you can't get to that point, if you're somebody that struggles, you're a liar, you're this, you're that, I would say to everybody, keep going. Like people that have problems with it, no matter what it is, the woman I talked to, depression, keep going. Like get to where you got to get to, but keep going. The meaning of life is to be happy and make other people happy. And then it ends there. That's why when I think you make someone laugh, it's one of the strongest things you can do to somebody because it comes from and out. You know what I mean? It's like a big deal.
Right.
That's the meaning of life. So I'm gonna wrap it up. This was May 22nd, 2022. That is 05222022 for the math geeks. So for Kevin Hart, the much departed buddy there, who stole the champ's belts and now has to deal with the fact that this is my podcast website / channel. Every show I'm on, your days are numbered. I want the belts back by tomorrow afternoon at 2. If I don't get them back at 2, buddy, war is on. So, for Kevin Hart, buddy, there, it's me, Mike Leopard King, Mike Gill. This was Legit Paranormal, brought to you by LegitPodcast.com. We will see you again next week. Thank you for watching.